Putin ally tonight under assault. At this hour, the second biggest city in Syria is now in the hands of rebels for the first time since the war began a decade ago. As its dictator, Putin's close ally, Bashar al-Assad, backed by Russian forces, is clinging to power. The situation there is changing by the hour. The rebels surprising both Putin and Assad, storming Aleppo, toppling statues of Assad's family. Overnight, Putin's Air Force reportedly carrying out strikes in Syria in response. The crisis in Syria for Putin tonight, coming as another one of his allies is in serious trouble. Let me just show you the images out of Georgia tonight. Protesters furious after Georgia's Putin-supported government decided to postpone talks to join the EU. It has led to mayhem and protests on the streets. That move, of course, by the government, one that Putin was celebrating and supporting. But the overwhelming uprising that we are witnessing in these past days, these images you see on the streets of Georgia, are adding to a perilous moment for Putin, who today approved a budget spending a third of Russia's entire national budget on the military. In fact, increasing the size of his standing military for only the third time since Putin invaded Ukraine. Something that appears to be a sign that whatever peace deal is eventually negotiated, Putin's goals remain unchanged. And tonight, a Russian oligarch close to Putin telling Max Seddon at the Financial Times that Putin will reject Trump's peace plan, the first one that Trump's floated there. He said then, quote, "The world is on the brink of nuclear war." That oligarch saying that. Also adding a specific warning to Trump, saying that if Trump does not stop U.S. backing for Ukraine, quote, "there will be a radiation zone nobody will ever go into in our lifetime, and the war will be over." Threatening Trump with nuclear war if he doesn't stop supporting Ukraine, something that Putin's state media is betting Trump will do, thanks to his cabinet choices so far. According to journalist Julia Davis, the host of one popular Russian state television program, saying overnight, quote, "What an excellent team is coming along with Trump, not with respect to Ukraine, but as far as everything else goes, if they're allowed to get in, they will quickly dismantle America brick by brick. They are so great." Let's go now to General Mark Hertling, along with Seth Jones, national security expert, who, of course, have been on the ground in Syria, as well as the other places we're talking about here. General, right now, you're looking at a crucial moment for Vladimir Putin, and it comes as the Financial Times is reporting that, that oligarch in his inner circle is outright rejecting even Trump's offer for a peace deal. You hear what's happening in Georgia, what's happening in Syria, as Putin is trying to send this massive increase in his armed forces. How crucial is this moment?
We have to put it in perspective. You just named some of the things, Erin, but Russia's military is in disarray. They are spread across a bunch of continents, not just Syria and Ukraine. Their economy is in free fall, as Fred just mentioned. They face some threats on several fronts and decreased assistance from a bunch of allies that are having problems themselves. So we're seeing, as calm as Putin is and as his spokesman may appear to be, they don't have reason to feel very good about what's going on. They're facing dynamics on every single one of their fronts, which could cause increasing problems. Putin is not in a good place right now. And I hope that, based on our approach toward the Ukrainian war, we take advantage of that.
Well, Seth, that's the crucial question. And the Russian oligarch, who threatened that nuclear weapon, that no one would go in our lifetimes in that zone again, and the war would be over. He also added, after rejecting what they say is Trump's potential peace deal, that Zelensky needed to be removed from power, that Trump needed to do that if Trump wanted to end the war. And I'm just curious, Seth, what you think about that in the context of what we heard from Joe Rogan, who obviously supported Trump for president. Joe Rogan implied that he turned down an interview with Zelensky, where, of course, Zelensky would have come on his show to make his case about the war. Seth, do you think that's an actual question out there, that Trump would try to remove Zelensky from power?
Well, Erin, I was in Ukraine somewhat recently. I don't think there's any indication that the Ukrainians want Zelensky to step down. I don't think there's any interest from Zelensky to step down. And I think this is really the challenge right now that the incoming Trump administration has. There is a huge gap right now between the Ukrainians and the Russians on what they're actually willing to negotiate. The Russians want a weak Ukraine right now. They certainly don't want it as a member of NATO, and I'm sure they want Zelensky to step down. And the Ukrainians want the opposite, which is they want to build up their conventional weapons. They want to be a member of NATO, and they want to keep a strong government led by Zelensky in. This is why it's going to be difficult, I think, to get a ceasefire negotiation in place.
Yeah. And I should point out the Biden administration tonight signing a $775 million additional supplemental package for Ukraine. Obviously, in the scheme of the money that's gone in, it's de minimis, but it's still important. It's a signal they want to get in as much as they can prior to a change in administrations. General, I am curious about the impact here of what is happening in Syria, right? As you point out, Putin's air force was crucial in Assad maintaining power, but now Aleppo has